and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you. I really appreciate this. My name is Margaret Farmer, and I've lived in East Boston for approximately 15 years. I'm originally from Maine, so I'm sorry that I'm not able to say I'm from the North End. I'm happy to say that I'm here now. I have been a community activist and leader for a number of years. For the last 5 to 6 years, I've been the president of the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association. I'm also involved with EASTI, which has a very confusing acronym, so I'll just tell you they're the organization that's against drugs in East Boston. I'm also on the board for the EASTI Farm, which is dedicated to creating and preserving green spaces that are meant to create resiliency and education opportunities for children. I got into this race for a variety of reasons. I volunteer my personal time to do what a lot of people in this room do, which is give back to their community, because I believe in where I live in and I want to make it a better place. I get some of the calls already about the trash in the street. I get the calls about the fire that's happening overnight, and I dedicate my time to this because I believe it's important. And as your city councilor, I would also dedicate my time to this. But at the same time, as someone who's been on the ground working in our community and seeing how they're changing, I also see how some of the decisions that we can make today can make our lives better for the future. Now, I've got a big long list, and I encourage you to check out my website because I know that the buzzer's going to go off, and I'll respect the buzzer. But a couple of the issues that I stand behind, they're core issues. They're what affect our lives every single day. One of them is transportation. You brought up parking, and I completely agree with you. The ability to come home and have a guaranteed place to park, it affects whether or not you get groceries, it affects where you go to the doctor. The new developments that are being built that consider themselves transit-oriented, we should take away the ability for them to get a resident parking sticker. And I know some of you are going to say, oh, we can't do that, but they've done it already in Alston. So if they can do it in Alston, why can't we do it here? Why can't we do it in other parts of the community? I'd also like to see an increased bus service, both for seniors, and well, it would benefit everyone, but it would ensure that seniors have easy access to our MBTA system. And that needs to happen in all 3 districts of the North End, Charlestown, and East Boston. I'd also like to see an inner harbor ferry. I know we've all talked about ferries, we've heard it time and again, but connecting one community to another is not going to solve anything. We need to be all connected across the city. The North End, you need to be connected to the seaport. You need to be connected to the airport. The North End is a jewel. People around the world talk about the North End. We talk about their food, we talk about the community, we talk about a wonderful place it is to live. And we need to treat it that way. I don't know about anybody else, but when I walked up Atlantic Ave and I saw the design that they did for the sidewalk when they added in the bike lane, I was thrilled to see the bike lane, actually. I do support bike lanes. Don't hurt me. I was thrilled to see the bike lanes, but I was disappointed in the design that was integrated and the fact that they put in concrete. This is the North End. You resemble the old world. Why aren't you being treated with the respect that you should be? Why aren't we thinking about how you are presented to the world and to everyone who comes to visit us? And as your city councilor, that is something that I would never forget, because the North End is special. You are special, and you need to be treated that way. Not just for the tourists, but because you live here, and your community is the most important thing. So I could go on and on a little bit more, but I love taking questions from the crowd, so I'm gonna wrap it up. What can I tell you?
10 seconds left, Julia. Good.
Okay. The gentleman to my left.
I haven't come up with a question yet.
Okay, so actually I'm very interested in the sidewalk issue. There's been some conversation here before about that. So how can we change it?
So,
other than, I mean, we've talked to city representatives and nothing's happened. How can we change it?
so if this were the design phase, I would have advocated for brick sidewalks. Now that they've been installed, we can, hear me out, you're going to shake your head the second I say this, but we can have them painted to look like brick.
Oh, that's an improvement.
Okay, so at least it would be visually attractive. Also, cement sidewalks, they're just going to retain heat. Nobody's going to walk on those this summer. They're going to hate them because they're going to retain heat. They're going to be incredibly uncomfortable, at least if they're bricked over so they're visually appealing. It will lower the heat level and people will be more likely to linger there and go to some of the shops and then hang out and spend time visiting with neighbors on the sidewalk. And it is a low-cost aspect, actually. I've seen it done before, and actually community groups have come together in order to implement it. It's considered a mural, even though it's one you walk on. But it is a way to improve it. So at least it would be somewhat different.
How about brick trim?
We can do that too. Yeah, that's definitely an option. I would like to answer your question about public trash. Because of the way the streets are laid out, we need to bring back the Hokies. I mean, and there's a number of places, both in the North End and in East Boston and in the Charlestown, that it's just a necessity. You're just not going to get the trash. It doesn't matter what equipment you bring in. That is the reality. I'd actually like to see it partnered with the programs that we have for young teenagers who are looking for job opportunities during the summer. There is funding available for these programs, and unfortunately, there's not enough of available job opportunities. It's not glamorous, it's not fun, but it is a job, and it is something that would improve their neighborhood, and they would get positive feedback from people who saw them doing it. And it would have an immediate effect, at least through the months of the end of May through the beginning of September. At least that would send us into the fall and bring us out of the winter in a way that we know that we're getting it cleaned. Also, I would like to leverage more of the, well, let's just say people working off a debt to society could also be used as Hokies as well. But it's really when you get right down to it, that's what's going to solve the problem, is someone coming up with a book.
We're going to talk about the Airbnb question as well.
Sure.
To hear your response. Maybe a solution to it.
Definitely. If you wish to do Airbnb in your home, go right ahead. It is your home. You have the right to do that. If you operate an Airbnb elsewhere, especially if you are someone who has, as a form of speculation, purchased an apartment and lives somewhere else and have a service that handles this, you are running a de facto hotel. It does need to be regulated, it needs to be inspected, and taxes do need to be collected. For all that everybody says that it doesn't affect the number of hotel rooms being rented, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. The reality is that this is actually affecting the housing issue because it's reducing the amount of stock available. I believe that by regulating Airbnbs and taxing them, a number of people would decide this is a little bit more work than I'm willing to do, and it would return those apartments to the housing stock. In regards to the housing issue, I know a lot of people, myself included, are very concerned about staying here in Boston. But there are things that the city can and should be doing. We have an incredible number of universities here in Boston, some of the best in the world. They can increase their enrollment simply by sending out additional letters and hiring a few additional teachers. We need to push them to create more dorms. And I'm not talking about dorms in the North End, don't worry. Not here. I'm talking about Suffolk Downs, I'm talking about Wyatt Circle, I'm talking about large spaces that are going to be developed in the next couple of years, and encouraging the universities and the developers to come together. And we can do this, by the way. The city can put pressures on the developers to say, as part of your area that you're giving back to the community, we want you to build dorm space and build more dorm beds, bringing you people out of the community so that they're renting here less and making it more available for people who live in the community permanently or wish to have a home here.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
Okay. I'd just like to wrap up by thanking you all once again. I know that this is a beautiful night outside and that you would love to be out there. It's a Wednesday night, so I can't make a joke about television. I don't watch it anymore. I don't have time. But I just would like to say I work for North Suffolk Mental Health Association in my full-time job, providing critical services for opioid and people with mental health addictions, and I would certainly be available to help anyone who needed it. I'm also the only candidate in the race who doesn't work for the mayor. I'd like you to please consider voting for me on September 26th, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you.